Hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
We're back again with
Yeah.
our favorite podcast.
I'm gonna react to
Joe Rogan.
Mr. Rogan. Have you heard about the Zuckerberg and the fact checking and stuff? Facebook and like Meta, Instagram and stuff.
Well, is this the reason he was in?
Hot waters.
Yeah,
Have you heard about it?
murky waters.
Have you heard about it?
I've heard about it, but I'm not really. I don't have that much information about it.
But then this is perfect. And then let's watch this stuff. And
Pressure about the bad and is this
The
old?
Joe Rogan
no.
Experience.
It's like
I was really worried.
Oh,
I
wow!
think-
wow,
I think-
Wow, does he look like that?
yeah, he looks better now than when
What's up with his hair?
he has curls.
Isn't he like 40 something? It looks like a. I'm not. It looks like a teenager. Do you know that the broccoli heads?
Yeah, maybe he went on the Brian Johnson diet. The Rediah diet.
So went
Worried
back
from the
did
beginning.
Benjamin Buttons. He went back.
About basically becoming this sort of decider of what is true in the world, right? That's like kind of a crazy position to be in for billions of people using your service. And so we tried to put in place a system that would deal with it. And early on tried to basically make it so that it was really limited. We're like, all right, we're just going to have the system where there's these third-party fact checkers and they can check the worst of the worst stuff, right? So things that are very clear hoaxes, that there's like, it's not like we're not parsing speech about whether something is slightly true or slightly false, like Earth is flat, things like that, right? So that was sort of the original intent. We put in place the system and it just sort of veered from there. I think to some degree, it's because some of the people whose job is to do fact checking, a lot of their industry is focused on political fact checking. So they just kind of veered in that direction. And we kept on trying to basically get it to be what we had originally intended, which is just.
How can your job be political fact checking? That's crazy. How can you politically fact check someone? Makes no sense. Right?
It's not, the point isn't to like judge people's opinions. It's to provide in this layer to kind of help fact check some of the stuff that seems the most extreme, but it just, it was just never accepted by people broadly. I think people just felt like the fact checkers were too biased.
Mm-hmm.
Not necessarily even so much in what they ruled, although sometimes I think people would disagree with that. A lot of the time, it was just what types of things they chose to even go and fact check in the first place. So I kind of think like after having gone through that whole exercise, it I don't know, it's something out of like 1984, one of these books where it's just like it really is a slippery slope. And it just got to a point where it's just, okay, this is destroying so much trust, especially in the United States, to have this program. And I guess it was probably about a few years that I really started coming to the conclusion that we were going to need to change something about that. COVID was the other big one, where that was also very tricky because
You remember all the like guidelines, warnings, and all the different like texts about COVID, and then as soon as you did something or like Googled something or anything about COVID, it just these messages and these like these things that just steer you or like correct you. That was crazy, like, and then after all of that, it's like they were wrong about most of it.
Mm.
because at the beginning it was it's like a legitimate public health crisis in the beginning, and it's even people who are like the most ardent First Amendment defenders, the Supreme Court has this clear precedent that's like, all right, you can't yell fire in a crowded theater. There are times when if there's an emergency, your ability to speak can temporarily be curtailed in order to get an emergency under control. So I was sympathetic to that at the beginning of COVID. It seemed like, okay, you have this virus. It seems like it's killing a lot of people. I don't know, like we didn't know at the time how dangerous it was going to be. So at the beginning, it kind of seemed like, okay, we should give a little bit of deference to the government and the health authorities on how we should play this. But when it went from, 2 weeks to flatten the curve to, and like in the beginning, it was like, okay, there aren't enough masks. Masks aren't that important. To then it's like, oh no, you have to wear a mask. And, everything was shifting around. It just became very difficult to kind of follow. And this really hit.
What do you think about the mask thing? It literally did nothing. Like there were so many people like wearing masks, stuff.
What I think about the mask thing?
Yeah, because like people were like mandating it and like scolding you for not wearing it, and
That's just normal society structure. That's what people do.
Yeah, but it literally like people
Whenever
actually
you do something that's not according to their narrative, they're going to judge you. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, but I mean, the mask did nothing, literally.
So based on information, the more information you have, the more.
But information was suppressed.
It's biased.
Yeah, it was suppressed. Like there were medical
There's
professionals.
nothing to think about it. It is what it is.
Yeah, now, but back then, like whenever it was going on, it was crazy. Because when you didn't wear a mask, people were like mad at you. It's weird.
I don't even give two shits. It's all in the. There's a reason for the masks, right?
Yeah, of course.
What's the reason for the masks?
It made some sort of sense, but then when you got people saying, like medical professionals saying like the masks do nothing, it's just a waste of resources, money, fabric, I don't know, whatever.
The most extreme, I'd say during the Biden administration when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. And now I'm generally like pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than negative. But I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who is basically arguing against it. And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down. And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. Like, we're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
that talk about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration. I think it was I wasn't involved in those conversations directly, but I think it was.
How difficult is that to not be involved in those conversations directly? That's got to be strange too, right? Because you're running the company, but there's clearly you're moderating at scale that's beyond the imagination. The number of human beings you're moderating is fucking insane. Like, what's a Facebook? How many people use it on a daily basis? Forget about how many overall. Like, how many people use it regularly?
It's 3.2 billion people use one of our services every day.
Damn.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's a third of the planet.
Yes.
That's so crazy.
Yeah, and it's
almost half of Earth.
Well, on a monthly basis, it is probably half. Of it. But
so I want to say that though, there's a lot of like hypercritical people.
What if everybody had the access to it? How many would actually use Facebook? That would be interesting.
Or conspiracy.
But I think there's
everybody's a part of some.
Most people have access to a phone today, so I think most people have a Facebook today.
Yeah, but if everyone had, that would be interesting to see like statistics behind how many actually.
Yeah.
Cabal to control them. I want you to understand that whether it's YouTube or all these, whatever place that you think is doing something that's awful, it's good that you speak, because this is how things get changed, and this is how people find out that people are upset about content moderation and censorship. But moderating at scale is insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
What we were talking the other day about the number of videos that go up every hour on YouTube, and it's bananas. Mm-hmm. It's bananas. Mm-hmm. It's like to try to get a human being that is reasonable, logical, and objective, that's going to analyze every video. It's virtually impossible. It's not possible. So you got to use a bunch of tools. You're going to get a bunch of things wrong.
Yeah.
And you have also people reporting things. And how much is that going to affect things? You could have mass reporting because you have bad actors. You have some corporation that decides we're going to attack this video because it's bad for us, get it taken down.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much going on. I want to put that in people's heads before we go on. Like, understand the kind of numbers that we're talking about here. Now understand you have the pandemic, and then you have the administration that's doing something where I think they crossed the line, where it gets really weird, where they're saying what you're saying. They were trying to get you to take down vaccine side effects, which is just crazy.
Yeah. So, I mean, like you're saying, I mean, it's so complicated, this system, that I could spend every minute of all of my time doing this and not actually focused on building any of the things that we're trying to do. AI, glasses, like the future of social media, all that stuff. So I mean, I get involved in this stuff, but in general, we have a policy team. There are people who I trust. They're the people who are kind of working on this on a day-to-day basis. And the interactions that I was just referring to, I mean, a lot of this is documented. I mean, because Jim Jordan and the House had this whole investigation and committee into the kind of government censorship around stuff like this. And we produced all these documents, and it's all in the public domain. I mean, basically, these people from the Biden administration would call up our team and like scream at them and curse. And it's like, these documents it's all kind of out there.
Did you record any of those phone calls?
I don't think we, but I think
I want to listen.
I mean, there are emails, the emails are published. It's all kind of out there. And they're like, and basically it just got to this point where we were like, no, we're not gonna take down things that are true. That's ridiculous. They wanted us to take down this meme of Leonardo DiCaprio looking at a TV talking about how 10 years from now or something, you're going to see an ad that says, okay, if you took a COVID vaccine, you're eligible for, for this kind of payment, like this sort of like class action lawsuit type meme. And they're like, no, you have to take that down. We just said, no, we're not going to take down humor and satire. We're not going to take down things that are true. And then at some point, I guess, I don't know, it flipped a bit. I mean, Biden, when he gave some statement at some point, I don't know if it was a press conference or to some journalists, where he basically was like, these guys are killing people. And I don't know, then like all these different agencies and branches of government basically just like started investigating and coming after our company. It was brutal. It was brutal.
Wow. Yeah. It's just a massive overstepping.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
also,
I think
you weren't killing people. This is the thing about all of this. It's like they suppressed so much information about things that people should be doing, regardless of whether or not you believe in the vaccine. Regardless, put that aside. Metabolic health is of the utmost importance in your everyday life, whether there's a pandemic or there's not. And there's a lot of things that you can do that can help you recover from illness. It prevents illnesses. It makes your body more robust and healthy. It strengthens your immune system. And they were suppressing all that information.
I just kind of get into this listening to a podcast mode right now. That's usually what I do.
Yeah, but
just focus on the podcast.
Yeah, but what?
Well, this is all known, like the censorship, and we've all been through this. This is old news, but it's interesting to get like the origin of it. Like, what kind of administration actually wanted them to take it down and create censorship and so what?
But did you actually have COVID?
Like 2 times.
And how did it affect you?
Barely. I lost my sense of smell and taste. That's how I know I had it.
Yeah.
And as someone that's like competing in natural bodybuilding, that made me sad. Because I did not enjoy food, and when you're bulking, you want to enjoy food, and when you're cutting, you want to enjoy food. So
then you might as well cut them.
Yeah, I was like, shit, no appetite. I'm at that point now.
The first time I got COVID.
Real world problems, right?
Yeah, the first time I got COVID, I was like bedridden for like 1.5 days.
Damn.
I was like, I was sleeping. I slept for like 20 hours, and then I woke up and I was like kind of fine. And then the second time I was like having a cold.
Yeah, I think it was like a cold for me, and then I lost my sense of taste and smell. So it wasn't that bad for me. But I get, like, we're trying to help each other out as a society, but judging others for having their opinion, I think it's important to be able to talk about it in free speech. And like the satire part, and I think,
but it was kind of
I think there's some truth in every satire or joke or the comedic side of it. There's some truth in it, but I think it's good to be able to get it out there, because if you I think it's good to be able to get it out there, even though it's satire.
The problem arises when you have something you can't make fun of.
Yeah.
Then it's dangerous. I feel like
there's a lot of things you can barely make fun of. I heard about like one comedian back in like the 60s. I don't know if it's the 50s, 60s, 70s. He talked about like racial slurs and everything, like all of it, like racial slurs for every kind of color there was and everything. And he just brought it up, and everyone's like baffled, like, oh, what's going on? But eventually he started talking about it, and it wasn't that big of a deal. Like, it's the intention behind the words that you're using, right? So if you have bad intentions, yes, it's going to mean a lot. But if you don't have, like, the intentions behind what you're saying is the most important part.
But it's like,
if I just say like you smell like shit and you don't, you're like, you're just joking. I'm joking.
Yeah.
But if you literally smell like shit and you feel bad about it, you're like, bro, I'm still gonna tell you.
Yeah, but then it's like,
that made sense, but yeah.
I deliberately don't use certain words because they have they can have a connotation of that's negative, and some words have arisen because, or they have been used and made up to be slurs. And like when I speak to a black person, I'm not going to use the N-word, you know.
I'm not going to use when I speak to in Chinese dude or like in Japanese, like anything, like using really, like, you know. I kind of want to say the word. But
what, Asian?
There's a word.
What word? For Asian people?
Yeah.
I mean, yellow people?
Well, there's a word. But yeah. It's weird. Like, it's almost like we went through this. I wouldn't say like the tests, like FDA. For some reason, we went through this. I know what, like, you have swine pox or what? No, swine pox. Swine flu. Swine flu before.
SARS. Swine
flu. Bean influenza.
Yeah.
We had that before, and that was the only time that I remember that I had like a big. I didn't actually. I got the injection because my mom wanted me to.
Yeah, same. Yeah.
But now I didn't, because I just wanted to wait it out, and I got, like, if you're in like a group of people that are in a more, you're in greater like risk of danger or dying,
like overweight and old people.
Yeah, of course, you have to do the utmost to be able to secure your own health and abide to some guidelines about like keeping distance. But otherwise, I see like the whole economy is going to stop if the fear that it's not that. It's like fear mongering. It's almost like, with the toilet papers here in Sweden. Like the toilet papers went out and everybody got like chaos, and they bought like all the toilet paper. I'm like, bro.
Worst case scenario, you just rinse your asshole with
jump in the shower, bro.
With the shower, yeah. Just finger up the asshole. Just.
How much? Not going. Oh, you meant the whole.
Yes.
Like the whole thing.
You like take the
oh,
thing.
Man, come on.
Just clean it a little bit.
You're gonna be like David Shitfinger. Fuck's sakes.
And that's just crazy. You can't say you're one of the good guys if you're suppressing information that would help people recover from all kinds of diseases, not just COVID, the flu, common cold, all sorts of different things, high doses of vitamin C, D3 with K2 and magnesium. They were suppressing this stuff because they didn't.
He actually D3 with K2 and magnesium. It's important to get all three of those. I get like D3 and K2 because some people just get D3, but you need some K2 to be able to facilitate it. And the magnesium as well. But I think magnesium you can get from a diet if you eat a healthy diet. K2,
how many
K2, K1 you can get, but K2 and D3 is something you need to supplement, especially if you're in a country without like sun. As long as your reference levels are high, but
But the vast majority don't really eat that kind of a diet, unfortunately.
Yeah. So you just could supplement with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Didn't want people to think that you could get away with not taking a vaccine, which is really crazy when you're talking about something that 99.07% of people survive. This is a crazy overstep, but scared the shit out of a lot of people. Red pilled, as it were, a lot of people. Because
I 100% think it was only a money thing. It was a scheme just to make a lot of money off the vaccines.
they realize, like, oh, 1984 is like an instruction manual. It's like it shows you how things can go that way with wrong speak and with bizarre distortion of facts. And when it comes down to it, in today's day and age, the way people get information is through your platform, through X. This is how people are getting information. They're getting information from YouTube. They're getting information from a bunch of different sources now. And you can't censor that if it's real legitimate information because it's not ideologically convenient for you.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's basically the journey that I've been on, right? Started off very pro free speech, free expression. And then over the last 10 years, there have been these two big episodes. It was the Trump election and the aftermath, where I feel like in retrospect, I deferred too much to the kind of critique of the media on what we should do. And since then, I think generally trust in media has fallen off a cliff, right? So I don't think I'm alone in that journey. I think that's basically the experience that a lot of people have had is, okay, it's the stuff that's being written about is not kind of all accurate. And even if the facts are right, it's kind of written from a slant a lot of the time.
Of course.
And then there was the government version of it, which was during COVID, which is okay. Like, it's like our government is telling us that we need to censor true things. It's like, this is a disaster. And it's not just the US, right? I think a lot of people in the US focus on this as an American phenomenon, but I kind of think that the reaction to COVID probably caused a breakdown in trust in a lot of governments around the world. Because 2024 was a big.
How much do you actually trust the government now in general? Like the COVID thing really broke everything trust-wise for me when it comes to like governmental.
What government
things.
are you talking about?
Most governments. If the biggest government in the world.
Kind of like Sweden for that approach. Like Andrew Tate went here because they had no restrictions. He went here to party, Andrew Tate. I think that's what I heard. Because we didn't have that many restrictions in Sweden compared to other countries.
We have a lot of restrictions. What do you mean?
Are you fucking kidding me?
Like party?
Sweden, we barely had any restrictions.
Around what?
Distancing, everything, like restriction-wise.
During COVID. Yeah.
During COVID. Like, then they went here to stay here because
Sweden was one of the better ones.
Yeah, because
COVID,
we were believing that herd immunity thing.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but
the thing that was funny, we just went here and it's like, fuck it, no restrictions, let's go party. Yeah. But I kind of think that's where we should finish this. I have some appointments to get to. I'm sweating. But good time talking about this. I think it's history. We can learn from history, right? That's the beautiful thing about history.
Yeah.
It's in the past, but we can still derive something from it and learn from it.
But history is bound to repeat itself at some point.
It's cyclical, right?
Unfortunately, it's like a cycle. We do
not that kind of cycle where you inject stuff, but it's a cycle. It's like with the hair.
He looks.
Yeah, but he looks good. He looks
better than he looks more
so
like
fresh and so clean.
Yeah, he looks like more like he has a soul now.
The fuck. I do. You look fresh, bro.
No, but before he kind of looked like a robot.
But he looks fresh. He looks.
He looks good.
I don't preface that hair, but I couldn't. I can't wear that hair because I have a big freaking head. So I would look like a tree. Something weird. I would look like a mushroom. I would look like a mushroom.
Yeah.
But the broccoli, it looks good on some people. Actually, it looks good on him. I dig it.
Yeah. That's all for us, folks. Yeah. Have a great day and
peace out.
Peace out.
Yeah. Peace.